Hey viewers and friends, Andrew back at you with another entry into my Texas Chainsaw Massacre series review, and we're here to review Leatherface, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. So just finished watching this one and wanted to upload and film my review while it was fresh in my mind. There's not really a lot in terms of the plot. This one is very similar to the original, probably the most similar to the original out of any of the sequels actually. And it was kind of weird because this one really didn't feel like an official sequel. It kind of felt somewhere in between a remake and a sequel. It was kind of interesting. But anyway, the plot behind this one is it centers around a couple of college students. They're heading cross country in their car, and eventually they come across the Sawyer family and Leatherface, and their cross-country trip turns into a nightmare for them. So that is pretty much the plot. As I said, very similar to the original. There's not as many victims in this one, but other than that, pretty identical. Now, what did I think of the movie? Yeah, I thought it was pretty good, pretty decent entry into the franchise, and compared to a couple of the sequels, well, part 2 and the remake, I thought it was really good actually. I'm not fans of either of those entries, but yeah, part 3 I thought it was pretty good for what it was. There were a couple of pretty key things that kind of let the movie down. The major thing was the Sawyer family. Now, probably the biggest difference with this movie compared to the rest of the franchises, there was a lot more focus on the family characters than the victims themselves, and I thought that was a pretty cool idea. However, the characters, while they weren't bad or anything, I felt they didn't really give enough. They weren't really as sadistic, twisted as and sick as some of the other families within the franchise, especially compared to the original and the beginning. You know, they weren't really sick and sadistic like in those two movies, which I felt kind of let them down a little bit. And for that, a lot of the movie dragged kind of when there was a big focus on the family. They weren't bad or anything, don't get me wrong, but I just felt they could have done with a little bit more oomph, and sort of come across more sadistic than they were. But other than that, they were fine. My other complaint with this movie was there was no sort of gritty, grimy feel to it, like a couple of the other entries. Again, compared to the original and the beginning, it definitely didn't have that grimy, gritty feel to it. Whether it needed it or not, I don't know, but I did notice it. It did sort of have its own unique vibe and atmosphere, which was pretty cool. I really did enjoy the swamp setting, and it did have pretty good atmosphere overall. Now, they're my sort of only major complaints. I'm very balanced on this movie. I think both the disappointing aspects and the really good aspects on the movie are both pretty much on par with each other. I'm massively impressed with the Leatherface character in this one, which kind of surprised me actually. To me, he's kind of somewhere in between the original and the beginning. He has the classic look of the original character, but he is a little bit more brutal. Not quite as brutal as his character in the beginning, but pretty much somewhere in between. And to me, he was kind of a little bit more smart than the character from the original film. I mean, if you could really say that. I thought his mask looked fantastic. But yeah, I was very impressed with the Leatherface character in this one. The chainsaw looked kick-ass. It was really modern looking. It was chrome plated, and it had an awesome quote on the saw blade, "The saw is family," which I thought was pretty cool. However, it wasn't used enough, which was kind of another letdown. I was really hoping for some awesome chainsaw action that didn't really get any. The battle between, if you can really call it a battle, sort of the face-off between the main female character and Leatherface at the end of the film could have been a hell of a lot better. It was kind of anticlimactic. But yeah, I mean, overall as a movie, I thought it was pretty solid, especially compared to Part 2 and the remake. It's a lot better than those two. It definitely sits in the middle of the franchise for me, and I think it's going to stay there because I still need to watch the next generation, or the next generation. But honestly, I can't see it being better than this one. So yeah, this one pretty much is cemented about halfway in the franchise for me. I definitely enjoyed it enough to be giving it another rewatch, so that kind of says a lot. But overall, I mean, I did think this was pretty good, pretty decent. So I'm going to give this one a score of 2.5 out of 5. If you are a big Leatherface fan, or you're a fan of the franchise and you've never checked this one out before, I would definitely recommend it. Yeah, it is pretty good compared to a couple of the other entries into the franchise. So that's pretty much all I really want to say. Actually, it's not. I did want to mention the gore effects and the special effects in this one. There wasn't too many, but when there was, they looked awesome. They were really, really well done. I was very impressed with those. Alright, okay, that's pretty much all I really have to say now. So my next series review for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre will be part 2. I will probably get around to uploading that early next week, or maybe over the weekend, I'm not sure yet. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this review, and I'm definitely interested to see what people out there think of this movie, so definitely let me know, and thanks a lot for watching.